Hello YouTube, Lego Boy 1624 coming at you with a comparison of the Gen 5 cars to the Gen 6 cars. I want to do this to keep the length of my reviews as short as possible. So this video will probably be an extremely long one, but please stick around and enjoy because I'm really going to look at the changes from the Toyotas, Chevys, and Fords from last year to this year. So let's get started. I guess we'll start with Chevy because I like Chevy the most and it's in the middle. So without further ado, let's take a look at the Chevy cars. The first thing you notice right off the bat is the change in the nose, which is prevalent in every car. You see the different Fusion, the different Camry, and the different Chevy. Obviously, Chevy bringing a new make into the Sprint Cup Series and the Nationwide, or a new car into the Nationwide and Sprint Cup Series with the Camaro and SS, respectively. Obviously, with a new car comes a new body style, or at least a new nose, but I really like what they did with how big the details are compared to this, and how sporty and fast and, I don't know, how good this car looks. So, right from the front, you see, obviously, the nose change, which is the main thing the teams and everybody wanted. Also, the driver's name on the windshield, which really helps in identifying the underfunded drivers as to who's in the car, because that is always changing. But for people like Marcus Ambrose, Matt Kenseth, Casey Kane, and the Cup regulars, it's not as necessary. But it's a nice touch for the underfunded guys because you get to see who's actually in the car. And excuse the siren in the background. Apparently, something's going wrong. Anyway, moving on. Let me just zoom in or whatever with the hood. You can definitely see a big change in the hood. It's indented. And you can see the shape change, the change in the shape. It's almost like a trapezoid, where this is half a stop sign, I guess. It's like a pentagon or a house shape. Also, you can see the 4 roof pins, which used to be on the cars back in 2010 and earlier. But they're not on the 2011 or 2012s, which is kind of a letdown. No indents, because they were on the cars and they're not on the diecast. But hood pins and these hood flaps, that's what I'm calling them, and this vent, they were previously behind the hood, but when the hood goes all the way up to the windshield, I guess NASCAR has no choice but to put them on the hood, which is perfectly fine by me. It looks good. Also, another thing I noticed is that the ride height of these cars is insanely different. I don't know if that's just the way Lionel produced the diecasts, but this car is extremely lower to the ground compared to this car. Just throwing that out there. The overall height of the car is more or less the same, I think. Unfortunately, I don't have a ruler with me, so I can't measure how tall the cars are, unfortunately, but that's okay. Moving towards the side of the car, the main difference is the wheel well flares, and what I'm talking about is that little thing that's sticking out of the car around the wheel, that little flare out. It's not on this car. As you can see, this car side is pretty much flat. It's slanted in towards the body, but other than that, it's flat. No indents or anything. Also, you can see another flare at the rear end, and at this angle is pretty good. You see a little shadow here and a little shadow here, and that pretty much comes from this vent here, and you can really see it, an indent in the side, pretty much like the actual street car has, and really what most, if not all, street cars have. And then, well, that's pretty much it for that. and I'm going to take a little break and kind of not really rant, but point things out. I know in the preseason and stuff like that, people were saying, oh, the hoods or the roofs are going to be so much bigger. Well, I'm lining them up, and they're not that much bigger. They're a little bigger. Not really all that much. So, why is everybody saying that the roofs are going to be bigger? They're not that much bigger. Maybe 6 inches on the real car, but they're really not that much bigger. I noticed that the size of the numbers were decreased, because I'm not sure. This, yeah, the sides of the car are shorter, I think, compared to this, and I noticed that the number seems to be shrunken down so they can include the roof sponsor. I'm not hating on the roof sponsor. I think that's pretty cool, but why would they need it on there if the hoods or the roofs are pretty much the same size? And speaking with the hoods, I do like the much bigger roof flaps. Hopefully it will keep the cars on the ground. Kurt Busch obviously tried that out. It didn't work, but that's because when somebody turned down on him, his car just flipped. So, yeah. Another thing is a few people were complaining about how small the B-post is. If you compare them, there's not too much of a size difference. If anything, these B-posts are bigger. At least on the Chevys. I'll take a look at the Fords and the Toyotas. But on the Chevys, it seems like the B-posts are bigger. Also, the quarter panels are smaller, which I don't really like too much. It kind of makes the cars look like they're shrunken in, but it's alright. The deck lids are also smaller compared to the older cars, and the spoiler is curved like it really is in real life. Now, I'm not saying that the old cars had curved spoilers, but I'm just saying I'm happy that Lionel really took into consideration how thin the spoiler really is and that it's curved. Also, I'm not sure if the shark fin got larger between 2012 and 2013, but you can really see a difference in the size of the shark fin and the shark fin on the window. Also, the American Ethanol logos are considerably bigger on the Gen-6 car, and again, the numbers are smaller. Anyway, here's the back part. Here's the back of the car, which I just love. I really do love this. Not really much else to say. The old cars had the spoiler one slant down and flat. This, the Chevys at least, had the spoiler flat, and then the Chevys just have all kind of crazy indents. We see, I'm going to work my way from the bottom up. We see the bumper, an indent directly in for the license plate, and then another indent right underneath the taillights. And that looks really good. I do like the tail pipes, something that I liked on the Fords that are now absent on the Fords. Same with the Toyotas. I do really like the fact that they're on the Chevys. Here's another look at the deck lid size. Much different. Also, the spoiler, it's a lot smaller or shorter compared to the old spoilers. And there's another look at the hoods or the roofs. Not too much of a size difference there. And that's pretty much it for the Chevys. Let's take a look at the Fords now. And lucky for you guys, I actually have last year's DeWalt Ford. That's the only car from last year that I have so far this year, and quite possibly the only car that I'm going to get between last year and this year. Anyway, you can right off from the bat see the difference in ride height and the nose. I like how Ford did a complete overhaul and redesigned the Fusion. I really do like that. Another thing I forgot to point out, smaller headlights, especially on the Fords, that of course the car number and either race organization or sponsors will now have to be below the lights. I do like that a lot, actually. And overall, the Fords just look a lot sleeker and faster. Same idea with the hoods. They're a trapezoid versus half a stop sign. And these also have an indent. It's hard to see, but you can see it there the way the light shines on it, that they have an indent where these are flat. The hood flaps, the vent, and the hood pins, and that's all either absent or in different places on this car. This car also has the flares and the indent on the side. It's hard to see the indent on the side, but if you feel it, you can. If you start feeling around with the car, you can definitely tell that there is one. The quarter panels, same thing with the Chevys. The quarter panels are smaller, as is the deck lids. The B posts are more or less the same size. And the hoods, I keep saying the hoods, the roofs are just a little bit bigger. So, what's the deal here? The spoiler is also curved versus flat and straight. The American Ethanol is also bigger. But the door number size is more or less the same. Looking around the back, we see smaller taillights and tailpipes versus bigger taillights and no tailpipes. I do like the tailpipes. I wish they were on these new cars, but they don't look too bad without them. Not much else to say. There is an indent for a license plate right there where the DeWalt logo is. The headlight or the taillights are indented outwards. You can see there that it comes down, out, back in, and a little out and down. The rear bumper is a little bit curved, just a tad bit, just like last year. And on the Chevys, it's the same case. Other than that, that's pretty much all I have to say about the Fords. I really do like them, and I probably will be buying a lot of Fords this year. On with the Toyotas. I have no car really to compare to a number 20 Husky Tools car driven by Matt Kenseth. I'm sorry, but there was no Husky Tools car last year. I didn't get the Home Depot car for Joey Logano of 2012. And I don't plan on getting the Dollar General car for Matt Kenseth, so this is the best you're getting. Anyway, no indents on the hood, just the hood flaps, the vent, and the hood pins. Obviously, the hood a different shape, again, back to the half of an octagon. But this is really cool. This looks exactly like a Camry. There's an indent here for these grills, this grill, and the headlights. The bumper's all really cool looking. Again with the flares, the driver's name, Actually, I don't think there's an indent. No, there's no indent. I can't feel one. And I also can't see one with the way the light shines on it. Just the hood flares, or the flares. Again, this B-pillar is slightly smaller. I will give it that. And the windows, I noticed, are also larger. These windows. The hood, I keep calling this the hood. The roof, same thing. Not too much bigger. The quarter panel, smaller. The shark fins and the spoiler, a lot more realistic and more proportional. The deck lids, smaller, but good. And the rear ends, not as indented or detailed. You see there, it's just kind of down and out. And then there's a little indent for a license plate, as if it were a streetcar right about here over to here. Much bigger taillights compared to last year, and no tailpipes. Kind of a bummer, but that's okay. And you know what? That pretty much is it. I kind of flew through the Toyota and the Chevy, or the Toyota and the Ford, but that's really it for these cars. So let me try to form these cars back to the way they were at the beginning of this video. And here you are. Here's a complete look at the changes between the Gen 6 and the Gen 5 cars. Pretty much pointed out everything there is to these cars. The driver's last name, the nose change, the rear end change, the size of the quarter panels, how the better proportion of the shark fin, and just really everything about these cars. I truly like the Gen 6 cars. I think they'll be a huge success in NASCAR. They already have proved to be, and I'm really looking forward to making these reviews for you guys. And also, let's not forget, I do have Jeff Gordon. I just did not include him in this video because that would be my second Chevy, and there's no point in that. So, this video is nearing 16 minutes. Actually, probably past that, because I'm not counting in the time for my intro. But, yep, I'd appreciate it if you like, comment, share, subscribe, whatever. This video is pretty late getting out, since the Gen 6 diecasts have been around for a few months now, and they've been racing for a few months. But I figured this is my first time getting Gen 6 diecasts. I might as well come out with a bang. So this pretty much sums up this video. I appreciate you for your viewership. So Lego Boy 1624 reminding you to join the fight to stop bullying. If we work together, it gets better. We'll see you next time for the reviews of these four cars. Peace.